Chair, in the interest of expediting this process, and I'd ask if the clerk for his advice on this. I'm happy to speak to 15, 16, and 17 just at once and vote on all three at the same time, because these are the same types of amendments I've been moving. So if we can do that, am I allowed to do that?
Well, the vote on NDP 15 would apply.
Well, I'm advised that if we vote on NDP 15, the same vote applies to the others as well. So in effect, you're voting on all of them. Did I say that right?
Well, if it's rejected, we can reject the others as well.
Okay, if it's rejected, I think we better just do it
One at a time. Okay, thanks. Yeah. Then I'll try to be brief again. So my first amendment is to remove the 14-year maximum provision for a violation of the cultivation, propagation, and harvesting prohibition in this act, and to replace that with a fine of not more than $300,000 or imprisonment for a term of not more than 2 years, less a day, or both. And in the case of a first offense, to a fine of not more than $3,000, and for any subsequent offense, to a fine of not more than $50,000 for a proceeding by summary conviction. The first one is by indictment, the second one by summary conviction. And again, it's just, once again, to, in my respectful view, to make the penalty provisions of this act more in keeping with a legalized approach to cannabis, and attempt to take the criminalization prohibitionist model out of cannabis, and also to have the penalties aligned with the reality in Canadian courts today.
Okay. Seeing no speakers, we'll call for a vote on NDP 15. All those in favor of NDP 15?
For recorded vote, Mr. Chair.
Monsieur Ayoub, Mr. Yolson, Mr. McKinnon, Mr. Oliver, Ms. Sidhu, Ms. Gladue, Mr. Van Kesteren,
No.
Mr. Weber,
No.
Mr. Davies.
Yes.
Yes pour 1, nays contre 8, 8.
I declare NDP 15 defeated. Now we go to NDP 16. Mr. Davies.
Thank you. Again, this amendment seeks to amend the 14-year maximum penalty and to replace it with a term of imprisonment of not more than 2 years, less a day.
Seeing no speakers, I will call for a vote on NDP 16. All those in favor?
For recorded vote, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Are we allowed to apply previous votes at committee, or do we need to proceed with the calling of the vote?
Are we allowed to apply? No, I guess not.
I think it's one motion at a time, right?
No. But it seems to be the opinion here is no, but nice try. All in favor of NDP 16?
It's a recorded vote, Mr. Chair.
Oh, yeah. Recorded vote, yes.
Monsieur Ayoub, Mr. Yolson, Mr. McKinnon, Mr. Oliver, Ms. Sidhu, Ms. Gladue, Mr. Van Kesteren, Mr. Weber, Mr. Davies. Yes pour 1, nays contre 8, 8.
Okay, I declare NDP 16 defeated, and now we go on to NDP 17. Mr. Davies.
Once again, Mr. Chair, it's our third attempt to amend the criminal sanctions in this bill. It's our least favorite one, but we at least would ask that the parliamentarians consider reducing the 14-year maximum sentence to 9 years in order to preserve the ability of judges in this country to have the discretion to impose conditional sentences in cases they deem appropriate.
Thank you very much, and we all see your effort here, what you're trying to do, and we understand what you're trying to do. So seeing no speakers, I'm going to call for a vote on NDP 17. All those in favor?
Have a recorded vote, Mr. Chair.
Monsieur Ayoub, Mr. Yolson, Mr. McKinnon, Mr. Oliver, Ms. Sidhu, Ms. Gladue, Mr. Van Kesteren, Mr. Weber, Mr. Davies. Yeas pour, 1, nays contre, 8, 8.
Okay, I declare NDP 17 defeated. So now, shall Clause 12 carry as amended? All in favor of Clause 12 as amended? All opposed? I declare Clause 12 passed, carried. All right, so now we go on to Clause 13. We have PV 13 is the first one here. And again, if this one's adopted, NDP 18 and NDP 19 cannot be moved. Is there any debate on PV 13? No debate, so I call for a vote on PV 13. All those in favor of PV 13? All in favor? All opposed? I declare PV 13 defeated.